Yes, you're right. It's Pearl Wisdom here. You're watching the Pearl Wisdom Show. And we have the GOAT. We have John from Off the Wall Hockey here today as well. And you're right. This is why I'm Perlo dancing. Two more subs, boys and girls. Two more subs, and I'm at 600. Yes, thanks for coming in, HNR. Ryan, the Devils fan, welcome to the live. Right on, buddy. Like usual, we'll be going over our picks from yesterday, but we'll talk for a while and let some people meander into the live before we do. Try to get everybody, hopefully, that was doing the picks yesterday in here so we can celebrate our fine frolic that we did. Um, so, John, I noticed last night you were just working around the clock. You were doing something last night there. What was that?
Yeah, I was on a Boston sports channel called Beantown Breakdown. I Bobby, who runs that channel, I've known through YouTube for a couple years now, and he's a really good guy. So, Shan from Slapshot Sweethearts and I hopped on and did a Bruins roundtable discussion just about Boston's season so far, and how what we think of the team and how far we think they can go this year. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked really good. I still gotta get on with those girls from Slapshot Sweethearts sometime. They look like they're a lot of fun to work with for sure.
Yep.
Uh, so looking at some of the new, what's some important news that happened last couple days here? Um, I'm just there was who was on waivers? Oh yes, in Florida.
Brett
Uh,
Connolly.
Brett Connolly on waivers. Does that surprise you at all there that he went on waivers?
I mean, that's a pretty big name to be hitting waivers, but when you look at what he's done this season, it's not all that surprising because he's really not had a good year this year with Florida, which is interesting because Florida, them as a team, has had a great season this year. Um, they've been really, really good, but Connolly. Let me see. He only had one goal and two assists in 16 games. So obviously not the offensive production you want from a guy like Brett Connolly.
Right.
And I think they have younger players that are kind of finding their way in that lineup and starting to play a bigger role.
Mm-hmm.
Some like E2 Luo Starin. I can't even say
Laustinen. I believe it's
Laustinen.
pronounced Laustinen. I could be wrong, but I believe it's called pronounced Laustinen.
But
Yeah.
he's stepped up. He's got 8 points already this season. He's only 22. Um, Duclair has had a pretty nice season. He's got 10 points. I mean, Wenberg's had a decent bounce back year. He's got 10 points. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously, like Carter Verhaeghe has been a revelation in that Florida lineup. We never really got more than fourth line time with Tampa Bay. Now he's stepped up. He's got 15 points in 21 games as a top six guy for the Panthers. So they've had some younger guys step up in that lineup that have just outplayed Connolly. So he finds himself getting demoted here.
Yeah, and that just seems to be the MO for Connolly everywhere he goes. Washington before that, he ended up getting eventually beat out. I mean, he's like your average third, fourth line tweener that
Hmm.
really probably shouldn't be a third, fourth line guy. He's scored. I think he had a couple 20-goal seasons, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he's not quite good enough to be top six, but he's good enough to fill a top six until somebody comes and takes it away from him, which often is what happens, and that's pretty much what happened here. At 3.5 million, too, in the cap scratch, like in normal times when you didn't have all these cap restraints, Connolly probably would have been picked up by somebody, just even as a 13 forward somewhere or something
Yeah.
like that. But in these times here, it's just not in the cards for players like him. These are the players that are kind of getting pushed out. Um, there's probably even there's probably teams out there that have less skilled guys that are like, yeah, but he's league minimum and he fills something right
Yep.
now. So kind of poopty for him that way. Although, hey Jacket, how you doing there, big guy? Thanks for coming in. Although it is on him too, because I think Connolly did have the talent to be better than he was.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's on him in the sense that he never really became what he was supposed to become. Why that is, I've heard murmurs of commitment issues, but I don't know. I heard murmurs of stuff like that with Galchenyuk, but just recently, now that Galchenyuk went to the Maple Leafs, I listened. There was a whole bunch of players that came out and said Galchenyuk was never a problem in the room. He was a good guy and all of that. He just couldn't get his skating where it needed to be, no matter how hard he tried. He tried
Hmm.
really hard. He just couldn't get there for some reason. That happens too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Connolly is just, I mean, he was a sixth overall pick for Tampa Bay back in 2010, and he was supposed to be a star player. And for whatever reason, he just never was able to find it.
Mm-hmm.
He did have some good years for the Washington Capitals. From 2016 through 2019, he played with Washington. He had a 15-goal season, a 15-goal season, and his last year in Washington, he scored 22 and
Yeah.
had 46 points.
Yeah.
And then he hit the free agent market and signed this deal with the Panthers. And he
Yeah.
actually was good last year, too. He had 19 goals and 33 points
Mm-hmm.
for the Panthers last year. But for whatever reason, this year it has just not clicked for him, and he only has 1 goal and 3 points. And Florida finally said, "We're going to play our young guys and put him on waivers."
Yeah, I think what seems to happen with Connolly, like those aren't bad points, but he plays on a fairly high on the top six a lot,
Yep.
and those aren't great points for a top sixer either, right? And he doesn't really have the game to play what your classic bottom six guy would be, so he ends up being a tweener. And then you got somebody like Verhage comes in and does what he's doing and adds and brings a lot more to the table, even more than points, right?
Hmm.
Than Connolly can bring. Connolly's not going to beat you down and all of those sort of things like that. He has speed to the outside and he's willing to go to the net, not bad. But as a whole, his overall game is fairly minimal. So he ends up having happen what happened here. Although I'm sure Mr. Connolly is not hurting too bad. I know you're watching there, buddy, and you're sitting on a pretty good pile of scratch there for your work, and you're an NHL player. NHL players are awesome hockey players, regardless of
Yep.
whether they make it. So had a pretty good career, nonetheless. Okay, there was also talk of trade stuff going on there in Vancouver. Big never did happen, but it was getting right up to the top levels of the rumor mill, where usually when it gets to that point, things do happen, but it never did. And
Hmm.
Jake Virtanen from Vancouver apparently to Anaheim for Heinen that never fell through. But what is your take on this? Where do we go with Jake Virtanen here? This high draft pick that just seems to not be able to mature in a way that's necessary to stay in a lineup, especially on a Canucks team that really needs him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're Vancouver, you've got to be trying to move Jake Virtanen at this point. He's got 1 goal in 20 games this year, and
Yeah.
that's it for points. Like
Mm-hmm.
he hasn't been able to bring anything to the table. Um, I don't know, why that particular deal that was being rumored fell through or didn't happen, but for whatever reason it didn't. And I mean, Jake Virtanen's got to be running out of chances here. I mean, this kid's been in the league for a while now and
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been able to put it together. And actually, he seems to be getting worse and worse as time goes along. So this has just been a horrendous year for him. And I definitely think a change of scenery would be good, to say the least. But I don't know if there are really teams out there that, at least not mid-season, want to make a move like that. I think that might be more of an off-season move where you can bring them in, have them have a training camp, have them have a preseason, get a good look at them, and then make your decision from there. I don't know if anyone's going to want to bring him in mid-season and really shake up their lineup like that, because this year he's done absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and I've watched a fair amount of Vancouver because I've been just hoping that they make me look decent for picking them first in the North. And he has just looked terrible. He's letting checks go. He's not. I mean, a guy his size with his speed, you got to. If you're not going to be scoring, you got to be hitting, and he's not even
Yep.
doing that. He's not doing anything on the ice at all. So the other question would be, what's wrong with Danton Heinen?
Yeah.
If you're willing to give up Danton Heinen, well, you know, you're being from Boston. He
I was
never,
never a big Heinen fan.
no, he doesn't really do anything overly well. He looks like he could, though, right? He's almost the same
He
as
has
Jake
some good
Virtanen.
skill. He has some good skill, but he's invisible 90% of the time. Like the
Yeah,
only time that you ever notice him is when he occasionally scores a goal. And you're like, "Oh, all right, that was a nice play." Like he has skill, but like
yeah,
90% of the time he's completely invisible doing absolutely nothing on the ice. And I mean he's been healthy scratched a lot this year by Anaheim.
yeah.
And yeah, I just, I mean, when if you're talking about swapping Heinen for Vertanen, you're talking about two guys that are borderline NHLers at this point, as far as being in a lineup on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's just basically trying to swap one problem for another problem and hope
Yeah,
that whatever, just cross your fingers. I guess the one
yeah,
thing about Danton Heinen is he's from Langley, BC. So you at least be getting a hometown boy, and maybe there's something to that. Maybe he can be around his family or whatever he's doing extracurricular to. Because I find usually players that have the skill level that these guys, you don't get to the NHL because for no reason at all, right?
yeah,
Usually there's exterior things going on in their lives or what have you that are causing issues for them to not put full commitment into the game. Usually, I'm not. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense otherwise because you're right. Danton Heinen, when he does play, he looks like he can play. Like he
yeah,
looks like he can be a 20-some goal scorer in the league. But when he's off, which is most of the time, he looks like he shouldn't even be close to the league.
yep,
And I would say actually for Vertanen, it's been far more even off than on than Heinen, to tell you the
yeah,
honest truth, especially the last little while.
yeah,
Look at
absolutely. Vertanen's been brutal.
Sasha. Welcome, man. We got a bunch of you guys in here now. We might be able to start looking at our picks from last night and looking at our games. Um, I think that was pretty much the only real big news that sort of in the rumor mill type stuff that I
Yeah.
heard. Did you hear anything else besides that?
No, rumor wise, that's pretty much been what's going on. I mean, big news today is that Crosby's out tonight for the
That's
Penguins Flyers game.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit too. Yeah, not much you can do about that. Just hope that there's not more people on Pittsburgh, members on Pittsburgh that have it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the circumstances behind why Crosby was put on the list. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that he has it. It
True.
could be could be an inconclusive test. It could
Yeah,
be
yeah,
that he
yeah,
was a
yeah.
close contact with somebody who ended up testing positive, so he has to I think get three negative tests before he can come back if he was a close contact. So we don't really know the circumstances behind it, but hopefully it doesn't become a bigger issue for the Pittsburgh Penguins and it's just Crosby. And as far as I know, tonight's game is still going to happen. So
Yeah,
it looks like it's been contained just to him, but he will not play tonight for Pittsburgh.
yeah. Maybe it isn't inclusive to. Yeah, it could be somebody that he happened to be in contact with that had it, and he's who knows, right? Who knows? It's
Hmm.
They're not going to reveal that sort of information to us. And if they're not
Yeah.
going to reveal it to us, then really nobody knows, really, pretty much, right? Okay. Okay. Sasha came in. Yes, Sasha, I have you reserved tomorrow at Perlo's House of Spanking. Your picks were extremely poopty. I agree with you completely. So we have that for you. 4 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. You come down here to the Alberta, and we'll have you all taken care of there. Um, okay. So let's look at the games yesterday, and we'll talk about them, and we'll talk about our picks.
Yep.
Uh, First, we'll go with the Ottawa Senators versus the Calgary Flames. Oh my, oh my.
Yeah.
Did you happen to watch any of that game at all?
I
Probably
didn't.
not, right?
No, I didn't see this game, but how embarrassing is that for the Calgary Flames? I mean, 5-1 to the Sens. Like, granted, the Sens deserve a lot of credit. They're playing a heck of a lot better now than they were a month ago, but 5-1, like Calgary's a team that wants to be a playoff team,
Yeah.
and they're getting blown out by Ottawa. Like, that's just downright embarrassing. So, really bad night for the Flames there. I think 2 out of their last 3 have been really bad nights for the Flames, and they continue to not really make any traction in the standings at all. They get to 500 and they dip right back down below it, and that's going to be a big problem for Calgary.
Well, this is the one. This is one time where we were pretty much bang on so far. Anyways, we both had Calgary missing the playoffs, and for a reason such as this, there
Yeah.
just seemed to be problems in the continuity of that team last year. I didn't see. Well, Markstrom's hurt too, so
Yep.
I mean, there's that. But they were outshot. From what I did watch, they were outplayed. If you come up against Ottawa and you're thinking that you're gonna skill them out of the rink, you're in trouble because they're gonna beat you, and that's like they're gonna
Yep.
beat you down. This is a team that's bought into a physical system of play, and as these players mature, this could be like an absolutely unbelievable team. Uh, for sure, Brady Kachuk has got to be Brady and Matthew actually, but right now Brady might be my favorite player in the league to watch. Like I just freaking love that guy.
Yeah, I mean Brady Kachuk is an absolute gem. Like he brings 100% effort every single night. He's physical. He can score. He goes to the net. He gets under the opponent's skin. Like he's really the total package. And I mean now you have Stutzla in there as well, who was just I believe he was just named Rookie of the Month for the month of February. He's really got his game going, and Batherson is scoring like a machine right
Yep,
now.
yep,
They've got so much young talent there in Ottawa. This is going to be a really good team down the road. They're
yep.
obviously very, very young right now and still kind of growing at the NHL level, but a couple years from now, when this team is really coming into their own, this is going to be a scary good team if they don't make any dumb mistakes and keep this group together.
Yeah. They're gonna have the having to sign all these guys and all that. I remember when they were really bad and they were playing Drake Batherson up a little earlier than he should. Even then, you could tell that
Hmm.
that guy was going to be something. 9 goals already this year. Like that is pretty freaking awesome. And Norris Stutzla's already got 9 assists, looking like he's heading towards Rookie of the Year so far. Besides maybe Kaprizov there, I don't think there's really anybody in the running right now besides those two. Um, but uh, Calgary just plays. When I watch them, they play like a team that just none of the lines seem to connect most of the time. They just don't seem
Hmm.
to gel as a team completely. And I'm actually really surprised they didn't do more movement in the offseason. Possibly there just wasn't anything out there and they thought they'd give it one more shot. But this has got to be it, right? This team's got to blow up after this.
Yeah, I thought this core when they lost to the Avalanche in the first round when they were the 1 seed a couple years ago, and they lost in 5 to Colorado in the first round. I thought at that point it was like, all right, this core with the Calgary Flames isn't gonna win anything. Start making some changes, and they've continued to stick with this core. Monahan continues to be a complete disappointment.
Yep.
Um,
Get.
Giordano is getting older and older.
Yep.
So they're going to lose him eventually on the back end. Gaudreau, I mean, you just never know what you're going to get with him. Lindholm's actually been one of the only really bright spots,
Yes.
him and Kachuk. But I think Calgary's got to make major changes if they're ever going to go on some sort of deep playoff run.
Yep.
Again, this year, I don't even think they make the playoffs.
No.
It's time to really make some serious changes there. This group is not going to win you anything.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I would be inclined to say that you just mentioned them: Lindholm, Kachuk, Rasmussen, and Valimaki, and everybody else is available, and
Yep.
we'll build around that. You got Markstrom there. I mean, that's not. I mean, Markstrom has played fairly well this year. But the last couple starts, but then he went on the injured list, so he might have been a bit injured.
Yep.
I don't think it would take a terrible rebuild, but something's got to be done. They got to change things around there for sure.
Yeah,
So
they need a big shakeup.
they need a big shakeup for sure. Okay, so Jacket had Calgary winning 4-3 yesterday. Jacket, and it, Hockey News reports HNR had Calgary 3-1. Sasha had Calgary 3-2. CL had Sens 3-2. And the Pearlo had the Sens 3-2 as well. So we weren't all right on the score, but two of us had the Senators. So, man, there we go.
Yep.
I had the Senators. Like, I just have no faith in Calgary this year.
Yeah.
So, so let's move on to the next game then. The bad part about it for Calgary is it's going to be so hard to trade play. They're going to have to pretty much like you were saying, almost have to wait for the off season everywhere because it's going to be hard to trade people at the trade deadline this year with all the COVID and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff like that. So value will definitely be on the buyers rather than the sellers. So I wouldn't be doing anything until the off season, but the next one is Carolina versus Hurricanes versus the Panthers,
Yep.
and the Hurricanes had a gutsy win here all around. I watched this game. Both of these teams were playing 4 games in 6, but the
Mm-hmm.
Hurricanes were on the road the whole time, and the Panthers were at home.
Yep.
Now the Panthers did outshoot them 46-31 and outplay them in a lot of ways, but the Hurricanes are slowly becoming one of those teams like Boston that will just plain find ways to win. They keep the puck to the outside. They don't give you an inch anywhere on the ice, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're becoming a really tough team to play against, and they're able to win these kind of really close, gutsy games where you have to dig deep and go all in for it. But that's what they're able to do. Um, and they were able to pull it off last night in overtime, and I thought Florida was going to win that game just because they were at home. Florida's had a great season this year. Carolina's been on the road for a while, and it's just one of those games where Carolina just finds a way to win, and that
Mm-hmm.
makes them a really dangerous team. And if they can keep that up over the course of the season, they're going to steal a lot of wins. And I think last night was pretty much a stolen win for the Hurricanes, where
Yeah.
they got largely outplayed, they got outshot, but they were still able to come away with the 2 points. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. And that was
Yep.
a really big win there for the Hurricanes.
Yeah. Florida didn't play bad either. I mean, Florida's going to win their share like that too this year, by it looks like. This is a really great rivalry almost being built up between these two teams. They play similar. They play the same kind of style, and whenever they seem to have, there's a lot of intensity whenever they play. A
Yep.
lot of pride in both rooms this year, which you normally wouldn't have said about Florida. You know,
Yeah.
that was a quick turnaround, real quick, bringing in some of those guys that they did in the off season to change the culture. It seems to have really worked with Florida.
I think Patrick Hornquist has been
Yeah,
huge for the Florida Panthers. Like just
yeah,
a veteran guy who's been in the league for a long time, has won Stanley Cups, and is still a really feisty, good offensive player who plays in the front at the front of the net really, really well. I think he has been an absolute game changer in that locker room for the Florida Panthers, and he's been a big reason for their success this season.
Yeah, I'd agree, and I would say the same. If you look at undervalued, was Fast with Carolina.
Yep.
I think that was a huge acquisition for them. When Williams is no, Williams leaving, they needed a veteran presence, and he seems to have come in and really taken that role on very well.
Yeah, very much so. That was one of those underrated offseason moves that didn't get a lot of attention, but it
Mm-hmm.
was a really good veteran pickup and a guy that you want to bring into your locker room with a lot of experience. And he's kind of taken over that leadership role where along with Jordan Stahl, where Justin Williams kind of left off because obviously he's retired now. But Stahl being there for a long time, I think, is a big time veteran in that room, as is Jesper Fast coming in from the Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Dridger had a good day. That he's looking like better and better all the time. He's pushing Bob Roski out more and more, I
Yeah.
would say. And Nedeljkovic also had a fantastic game. He's looking better and better as the year goes along. Uh, I mean, this could be the guy. They might not have to go get that guy anymore if Nedeljkovic keeps on playing like this.
Yeah, Nedeljkovic had a lot of success in the AHL. He was a very, very good AHL goaltender. Now he's 25 years old. And he's getting a real taste of NHL action. He wasn't great last year when he got called up last year and started 3 games. But so far this year, he's looked a heck of a lot better. He's got a 924 save percentage this year. So significant improvement there. And at 25 years old, he might be ready. It might be finally Nedeljkovic is ready. And I think he could be the guy potentially going forward long
Mm.
term if he continues to play this way for the Hurricanes.
Absolutely. At the very least, they just get a 1B veteran to help him out and see what he can do. It would be huge for them to not have to go out and pay big money to get that number one that we have thought that they are sorely missing.
Yeah.
So we'll look at who. Okay, Jacket had the Panthers 3-2. Sasha had the Panthers 4-2. 0-2 for Sasha. CL Canes 5-4. Hockey News reports said Canes won nothing. So that was pretty good, actually. Not too far off. And then I had Florida 3-2. We had the scores right, Jacket and I did, but we
Yeah.
didn't have the team right. And I kind of thought that's what it was. I only took, for me, and I took Florida simply because they were at home for the same amount of games that Carolina was on the road, and Carolina's traveling more. But um, this Carolina team, by the end of the year, the way they're grinding out wins.
Yep.
This looks like a strong playoff team to me right now, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, now we'll go to the Jets versus the Canucks, and
What was this?
what was this is right. I will say that Professor MJ. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yep.
He does. He also does picks. He's great. I listen to him all the time. He's a great investment guy for doing picks. He's a university statistician. He
Oh,
teaches
wow.
statistics. He teaches statistics.
That is awesome.
Anyways, his statistical analysis had Vancouver winning last night, and sure enough, they did. And I didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, statistical analysis or not, they got lucky last night. They had two fluky goals pretty much that put Winnipeg behind, and then Winnipeg couldn't bail themselves out of it. So uh, I'm still not confident in Vancouver, are you?
No, I mean this is just one win. They're still 9-14-2. It's not like they have a winning record now or anything, but this was a rough one for the Jets on home ice to get blanked by one of the worst teams in the league in the Vancouver Canucks. that's a rough night for Winnipeg. And Winnipeg's got way too much firepower in that lineup to be getting shut out on home ice. Like
Yeah.
that's just not good.
Uh,
They've got too many good forwards there for that to happen. So I don't know. I think you can just kind of chalk this up as a rough night for the Jets, but big win for Vancouver on the road where they got outshot 27-19. They only had 19 shots all game,
mhm.
but they put
Yeah.
four of them in,
Yeah.
including the empty netter.
Yeah.
And that's a nice win for the Canucks to at least pick up a W. But you got to think that Winnipeg's going to be a heck of a lot better than
Yeah.
that on most nights.
Yeah. I watched the game. Vancouver did not outplay Winnipeg for sure. Yeah, they just really just had a couple fluky goals. Still never gave me any confidence in Vancouver at all. They
Hmm.
need to get impressive wins before, like it's time. Certainly, it's beyond time now to not just get a fluky win here and there. They need to start dominating the opposition, certain teams. Winnipeg's a pretty difficult team to do that against right now, but if they
Hmm.
have any chance at all, they have to be able to do that, and I don't see them being able to do that. I just uh, they even the game last night, most of the time when it was time to get going towards the net, they were playing too far back. They were dumping the puck in to Winnipeg when they did dump it in. It
Yep.
wasn't in places where they could really get it back. They just still seem out of joint, and I can't see. There wasn't really much I could take out good from that game for Vancouver yesterday, except for the fact that they actually won the game.
Yep.
Maybe that'll give them confidence. I don't know, but if confidence is the actual problem, that might help out a little bit. But here they are. They're going to be going against Winnipeg again tonight,
Yep.
who, yeah, Hellebuck hasn't been having the greatest year this year so far for him. Uh, Occasionally, he's having nights where he just doesn't look Hellebuckian.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen him in a couple games, and he hasn't looked like the Connor Hellebuck of last year, who was dominating games. And Brossois going tonight, and Brossois actually put up some really good numbers so
Yep.
far this season. So I would certainly be. Well, we're going to talk about this later, but I would certainly be looking for a Winnipeg bounce back in this game.
Yeah, Hamannik was in the lineup last night, and he did look good, and that does help that team a lot.
Yeah, especially
They
defensively.
Yeah, they need a guy like Hamannik in there. He's been sorely missed. Um, but okay, we'll go to the next game because we got to make sure we have time for our picks at the end.
Yes.
Um, scores. So slow for some reason. During the afternoons here, my thing moves slower. Did we even say what everybody picked on that? No, we didn't.
No,
Sorry.
we did not.
Oh, I got to do that real quick. Okay, we had Sasha took the Jets 4-1. NHNR, NHL Hockey Reports, NHRN, not NR. Why do I say NR? Sounds right. Took the Jets 7-1. He took the Jets 7-1. They're way better than 9-14. Jacket's a Vancouver fan, by the way, so he's feeling really poopy. Uh, CL had the Jets 4-2. Jacket had the Canucks 4-3. Jacket was the only one that took the Canucks. Pearlo 4-1 Jets. And Steele was in the house at that time.
Yep.
And he had it 4-3. So the next one was the Vegas and the Wild. And this one saved my night. I had
Th-
Vegas and the over big time.
This was
Uh,
wild.
this was wild. This was a wild game. Uh, you gotta love this little Minnesota team, don't you?
Yeah, I mean they never give up, and they are always in it every night, it seems, this year. Minnesota's always in it, and honestly they kind of gave this one away at the end. That was, I mean, Vegas just took over in the third period, and and tied it up. But Minnesota had a 4-2 lead at the end of the second period in this one, and it was a crazy game. I mean, Vegas scored first. Minnesota came back, took a lead. Vegas ties it up. Then Minnesota takes a 2-goal lead. And then in the third period, Vegas scores twice, including Alex Tuch's goal right in the final minute to force overtime. And then Pacioretty ends it in OT for Vegas. It was a really, really good game. A lot of back and forth action. And these are two teams that are going to play, I think, a lot of close games against each other this year because Minnesota is having a really, really nice year, and Vegas, obviously, one of the best teams in the West.
Yeah, I think you really got to be putting serious consideration here as long as Minnesota makes the playoffs, which I think at this point seems pretty likely.
Hmm.
For Evison for the Jack Adams this year.
Yeah.
For sure. Like I mean, carrying on from last year, at the end of last year, they were flying, then they kind of dropped the ball against Vancouver, which looks like they really dropped the ball now. But,
Yep.
I mean, Vancouver was playing way better at that time, way different at that time. Uh, and now Minnesota's doing this. This is one of those tired games, too. The reason why I had Vegas to win here, I was actually in on a if on a fair on a level playing field, I probably take Minnesota here the way they're playing. But they had like were 4-6 on the road and all of that too. And here they just came crashed, just busted into this game, and we're all over Vegas in the first period. Like in the second period, even more so.
Yep.
Really, Vegas looked a little disheveled for the first half of the second, and then they have a veteran team there. Might want to hear whispers of Stone for the MVP this year. He's been doing uh, unbelievable work there in Vegas. 18 assists. How many
Yep.
goals has he had? He's up there in points quite a bit, but um, it's you might be hearing whispers of that. But they have a very veteran team. Also, Minnesota's doing this without their star player last year acting like a star player this year in Fiala. Fiala's kind of gone off, not really
Yeah.
playing very
Fiala's
well.
had a really quiet year. Another pointless night last night, and he hasn't been bad on the season. He does have 6 goals, but last year he was like racking up points for Minnesota. He was one of their best players, and this year he just hasn't been at that same level. He only has 9 points in 16 games, so Fiala's gone kind of quiet. But a lot of other guys with the Minnesota Wild are really stepping up this season. Marcus Foligno has had a phenomenal year.
Oh yeah,
Jordan
yeah,
Jordan Greenway, Joel Eriksson Ek, both have really kind of taken that next step in their careers.
yeah,
Zuccarello, since coming back, he's been really solid for
yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and obviously Kaprizov coming in is in Rookie of the Year contention as well. So Minnesota's, while Fiala's kind of dropped off a little bit, Minnesota's getting a lot of help from other places. And they're having a really nice start to this season for sure.
Yeah, I didn't ban anything implicit. I never do. So whatever happened, I don't know what happened to your post. Uh, Minnesota shouldn't drop that. Well, I didn't think Vegas was out of it because Minnesota had to be tired. I don't care what you are; these are humans out there. When you're playing the kind of and Minnesota wasn't just playing a lot of games. In order to win, they are playing hard-working games. Like
Yeah.
they are outworking their opposition every game, and it fell off a little bit at the end uh, last night. I don't think Talbot played all that bad. It's just when Vegas decided to turn it on at the end, Minnesota didn't have the legs anymore to stop them.
And
And
Vegas is never out of a game.
no, no, they are never out of a game. That's for sure. They got a lot of leadership, and when they decide to turn it on, what I do notice about Vegas is they're winning too many games this year when they decide to turn it on. They've
Mm-hmm.
really got to they more consistency out of Vegas is going to be needed come playoff time, but I'm sure they'll find that. Uh, I'm sure they will. Okay, let's
Yeah.
move on to the next game because we'll get meandering on here and
Do we
we'll.
do
Oh
picks for
no,
that one?
do the picks. Yeah, right. Thanks for reminding me. Good thing I have you here. Uh, Vegas. Okay, we had CL had the Wild 4-2. Jacket had Vegas 3-2. Way to go, Jacket. Uh, Steel had Mini 3-2. Doesn't surprise me. Mini's going to go with the team that's working the hardest. Steel is going to go with the team that's working the hardest. Sasha, Vegas 3-2. Hockey News Reports had the Wild 2-1. Pearlo had Vegas 4-3. What was the score?
5-4.
5-4. Oh, not too far. And Serling was in at that time and had the Wild 4-3. And you took Vegas 3-2, Mr. John from Off the Wall Hockey. So you had it
Little
right.
little more higher scoring, but I did expect Vegas to come out and find a way to win that game.
Yeah, I did too.
I did
Calder,
bet Minnesota PL though, so I'm glad it was a 1-goal game because I did have
did you?
Minnesota PL. Yes.
Oh, really? What was that juice on that, or did you have it in a parlay?
No, I just did it straight. I don't remember what it was, but
Okay.
it was
That was a good
pretty
pick.
favored
Safe,
for
safe,
Minnesota.
safe, safe pick. Very
Yeah.
safe pick. Yeah. I think the Calder will be Stutzla. He's my favorite senator. Yeah, somebody mentioned that Kachuk will probably be the captain, but I don't know. Stutzla Kachuk. I mean, Stutzla looks like a captain out there already too at his age. Like he's talking about that. Oh, we'll talk about it when we get to the game. Uh, or yeah, it's the next one. Blues versus the Ducks.
Yep.
So the Blues, another high score. What happened to the defensive system, the Blues that we know and love from last year? Like what was the last game? 7-6 against the Sharks, and now 5-4 against a listless offensive Ducks team. What the heck is going on in St. Louis there, John?
Yeah, this is not the St. Louis Blues of the last couple years at all. They've not been able to play that shutdown defensive style, and I think having as many guys, particularly defensemen, out of the lineup as they do, with Gunnarsson gone for the year, Parayko's out right now. They've had some other injuries on and off on the back end as well. Um, that this is how they have to win games, and also their goaltending isn't at the level of what it was the last couple of years either. So um, this is how St. Louis wins games now, is they play high scoring games, which is weird for St. Louis, but um, they were able to pull out another one. It was very, very close. It was a 5-4 game, but that was a big win for the Blues because they were desperately needing to get a win after a few losses in a row there. And for them to pick up one against the Ducks, who are certainly a team that they should certainly beat, um, that's important for St. Louis to pick up W's in games like that. And they almost lost it at the end. Anaheim had 3 goals in the third period. They almost lost it at the end, but they were able to hold on and get a big win. But this is not the St. Louis Blues that we're used to seeing.
No, and I wanted to mention in that game because I watched that game. Trevor Zegers tried to scoop wraparound from the back of the net.
Oh yeah, he tried the lacrosse goal. Couldn't finish it off, but came pretty damn close.
But yeah, for this kid who's what's his third game maybe, and
Second or third game in the NHL. That would have been his first NHL goal. Would have been literally the Michigan as his first goal.
that would have been insane. I would have freaking. But you gotta love this kid, man. What the balls on this guy? Unbelievable. Like the comfort level you gotta have as a rookie. Your first 3 games to do a lacrosse scoop into the top corner. Oh my gosh, man! I did not see that coming. This guy's surprising me every time I see him on the ice.
I've been super high on Zegras since he was in college, and I don't think he's going to be a surprise much longer. I think he's going to turn himself into a real superstar here pretty quickly in the NHL. And there's just loads of offensive talent with him. He moves the puck extremely well. He had 5 shots on goal last night. I mean, he's
Yeah,
he's still really young. He's still very raw and just very pure talented. But as he gets more comfortable at the NHL level and really grows into a complete NHL player, I think Zegras is going to become one of the best centers in the game.
Yeah, he looks like it. I mean, he's going over what I ever thought he would be. They were up 4-1, Jackets said. And I was, what was that? I thought that game was over, so I wasn't really watching it.
Yeah, they
I think
almost
that
blew it in the third period.
I was watching the Vegas game there, and well, you know, one I got to give it credit to Dallas Eakins. He doesn't have much to work with there in Anaheim, but they never allow themselves to be out of it. There's a lot of pushback in that Anaheim team, which is pretty good to see. He was the coach for the Oilers for a very short amount of time. He was a
Yep.
very young coach, but
Yep.
I liked him and I didn't want them to go. I don't know why they really got rid of him. That was a time when management was just all over the place with the Oilers. But it's good to see him back on his feet again and doing well there. So we'll look at the Blues versus the Ducks. Oh my gosh, Jacket gets a Pearls of Wisdom necklace all over the place right there. Sir, you pull one. I got Melissa. 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 No, don't bother with that. Pearls of Wisdom necklace for Jacket. Go now. Go. Get in the Pearl Copter. Go. Blues 5-4.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Boom. Wow, there we go. Okay, NHR had the Ducks 6-5, which we all had a great guffaw about that, but it wasn't all that far off, except for the fact that Ducks didn't win it, but they almost pulled it through. Surly had the
Yep.
Blues 3-1. You had 5-3.
Oh, wow.
John, there you almost had it. CL had the Blues 3-2, Sasha 4-2, Steele 3-1, and Mr. Pearlo had the Ducks 3-2. And that
Not
was,
quite.
what's that? Not quite,
Not
no.
quite.
Not quite. But Husso was in net. We didn't talk about that.
Yep.
Husso was in net.
Yeah. It was
He hasn't been playing all that well. Didn't play all well this game either, and Blues just happened to pull it out. But I thought for the juice, because Husso was in net and the way the Ducks were not giving up on games, also the fact that
yeah.
St. Louis seemed to be giving up on a lot of games, I thought they had a chance there. So it wasn't
Yeah.
a bad play. Okay, next game. Leafs versus Oilers. We won't. I don't want to talk about this much. You can go ahead and talk away there. What a
I mean, I've expected a lot more from the Oilers here, especially after losing the first game uh, a couple nights ago. I expected a lot more from Edmonton here, but they get shut out again and still can't find ways to score. And it really seems like the Leafs have the Oilers' number. Like, it's just one of those matchups where all season long it's been mostly Leafs. And last night was another example. 3 first period goals, and that was it. The game was over at that point. Nobody scored again the rest of the way. Um, Oilers have got to get some offense going. I think this is twice in a row now they've been shut out.
mm-hmm.
They've got to get some offense going here. I don't know what's happened. It looks like I was looking on Twitter earlier today. It looks like Tippett is really shaking the lines up here for the next game. But I don't know. They need to find a way to score because they've got shut out, and this was another pretty embarrassing loss. I mean, obviously Toronto's a really good team, but the Oilers are in second place. They should be able to compete with this Toronto team, and they should be able to, at least split wins here, and they haven't been able to do that, and now it's 2 in a row where they've gotten blanked. So Oilers got to find something against their biggest competition in that division right now.
Yeah, Jacket said the Leafs played great D. Uh, they did. I'm not going to take anything away from the Maple Leafs in that regard. They did play some good defense, but the problem with the Oilers is they're too easy to play good D against. Um, they don't. They need, and I was saying this before the season started. I would have liked to see them go after more guys like Hinostroza, and I even mentioned Verhege. Now, I never knew that Verhege was going to score like this,
Mm-hmm.
but that type of they need players that play with that kind of intensity, and urgency is the word. Urgency. The
Yep.
Oilers need players that play with urgency, and they just don't seem to have it. Uh, they still rely way too heavily on McDavid and Draisaitl. Apparently, Draisaitl's only playing at about 60% right now. Apparently, he's injured quite a bit. And there's the other part about the Oilers. Kyra cannot be anyone's third line center ever,
Mm-hmm.
and he is. They don't have a third line center. Turris was supposed to be it, and my concerns about that option turned out to be accurate. That was not.
Yep.
It's just not very good. They don't have enough willpower in that lineup for the Oilers. And Toronto on this year, I was questionable about bringing in Thornton just because of the type of player he was, not
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't have veteran leadership, but that veteran leadership seems to be working very well because that Toronto team looks like we were saying about Florida. They're playing with urgency this year. They're playing with the opposite of what Edmonton is.
Yeah, and for Toronto, I think they've finally kind of gotten the message that, like you're a really good team on paper, but you need to go out and show it. Like you need to play like the team that you are on paper. And this year they've really brought it. I mean, 17-4-2. That's an incredible record. And obviously the next step for the Maple Leafs now is winning in the playoffs because that's the one big thing they haven't been able to do is win in the playoffs. But this is the best regular season that this Leafs group has ever had, easily. Um, and and they're going to look to keep playing with that urgency, keep playing with that aggression, and keep playing well defensively, which has kind of always been the Achilles heel of the Maple Leafs over the past few years. Um, it really seems like they're playing significantly better defensively this season. And if they can carry that into the playoffs, they might finally break through and get those playoff wins that they've been looking for the last few seasons.
Yeah, the some I brought up a very good point. It was Jim Jackson who had the awesome honor to be able to work with here on SteelFlyers.com,
Hmm.
All Sports Network. He works with us as well, the voice of the Philadelphia Flyers, and when he mentioned something that was very true. It'll be interesting to see what this Toronto team can do when they get out of the North, where
Yep.
basically there's no real defensive teams going there at all, really,
Yep.
like that you would call a strong defensive team. Uh, when they get in the playoffs and they start playing the Carolinas and the New York Islanders and Boston Bruins and these strong, notoriously strong defensive teams come up against the Maple Leafs, how are they going to react to that since they really can't practice it
Yep.
in the North all year?
Yeah.
So that's going to be
That
interesting.
that's a really good point because obviously with the teams only playing within their division, the Maple Leafs aren't seeing anybody other than North Division teams. And, when you get down to the Final Four or potentially the Stanley Cup, you're going to be seeing a team from a different division for the first time. Um, it's going to be really interesting to see how the Leafs look against other competition because the North Division this year has been nuts. It's been off the rails. Like they're playing 1989 style hockey while the rest of the league is in 2021. There is no defense whatsoever in the North Division for the most part. The goaltending, I mean, it hasn't been great. It's been high scoring, high flying hockey in the North. And when I would say so far, I think Toronto's been the best defensive team in the North this season. And there's high scoring game after high scoring game in that division. Obviously, this one wasn't, but for the most part this year, it's been a totally different style of play up in Canada than what the divisions down in the US have been playing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really interesting to see how they look when if they make it that far to play a different team that is going to be playing a much different style than what they've seen at any point this season, like a Tampa Bay or a Carolina or a
Yeah.
Boston or the Islanders or a team like that who are
Mm-hmm.
just that's going to be a level of defensive play that they have not seen at all this year up in that division where there's very little defense overall.
Yeah. overall in the West, it's like that anyways. But this has just highlighted it even more now that's in
Yep.
the North. Like these teams really all are very offensive, and none of them really would have what you would call strong D. It's almost getting to the point where I'm starting to think Winnipeg looks like a really good playoff option for a futures pick because if anybody's playing a system that is more defensively orientated, it would probably be Winnipeg over everybody else. Although they're still scoring quite a bit, even though on paper their defense doesn't look all that great. Although
Hmm.
Pionk, my gosh, he's taking things to levels I never really thought Pionk could ever take it to. He's been
Yeah.
playing fantastic. Anyways, let's go at Jacket had the Leafs 4-3. Sasha had the Leafs 3-2. Eventually, here I should start maybe tabulating what everybody does here. But Steele had the Leafs 5-4. Hockey News Reports had the Leafs 5-2. John, you had the Oilers 4-3.
Yep.
CL had the Oilers 5-3. And I was the furthest away from everybody with the Oilers for 6-3. Uh, and I was on the Oilers here. And this is the other thing I'll finish before we go on to the next game here. You can't lose against a team that has Hutchinson in net. You
Yeah.
just can't. You can't, especially a shutout.
Yeah. You cannot get shut out by Michael Hutchinson. That's just embarrassing.
That is very embarrassing.
Yeah.
He is not a NHL caliber goaltender. Third string Toronto goaltender. Brutal. Okay. Sharks versus Avalanche. And I don't know. I
Ugh.
don't know what to say here except go get a goaltender, Colorado, please. If I mean, Grubauer is not the answer. It's just not.
Yeah. This was pretty disgusting. I was heavy on the Avalanche going into this game too. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was really thinking that they were going to take care of business against a pretty lowly team like the Sharks, and they got out to the 2-0 lead, and I thought they were sitting pretty there, and apparently they did too because they just completely stopped after that, and it was all Sharks in the second half of that game, and they gave up 6 unanswered goals. Just this was a brutal loss for Colorado, and the kind of losses that they cannot afford to take. And I don't know what's going on here with the Avalanche. Obviously, goaltending is a huge problem. They haven't had Francouz all season. Grubauer, I mean, I think Grubauer can be a good goalie, but he's certainly not a great goaltender. I don't think he's a guy that's going to lead a team to a Stanley Cup or anything like that. I really think they need to start looking to try and make some sort of move for a goaltender here. Um, it, Colorado has not been as dominant this season as I was expecting heading into the year. I thought they were going to be one of the clear-cut best teams in the league, and they have not been at all this season. Obviously, having Makar out doesn't help, but
Mm-hmm.
they should be good enough to where they can
Yep.
weather injuries like that. Like they still
Yep.
had McKinnon, they still had Landeskog, they still had Gerard, Graves, Taves in on defense. Like they should be good enough to weather an injury like that, and they haven't been this season. And their record, I mean, they're only 11-7-1. It's really not that impressive.
No.
And I was expecting a lot more from the Avalanche, and this was not a good night.
Honestly, when I'm watching the game, I still think the Avalanche outplayed the Sharks. They outshot them 35-27.
Yep.
That doesn't tell the whole story, but the Sharks were their normal terrible defensive team that they were against everybody else. I guess you could say that I believe it was Jones. He has been looking better, and he did play a little better. But it was just deflating to not be able to get that save at that time from Grubauer. And I've been talking about this for a long time about Grubauer. I'm not a big fan of him. I haven't been a big fan of him since Washington. Um, he's too streaky. He goes
Hmm.
through when he's good, and when he's bad, he's really bad. Now,
He's
was he?
very Peter Mrazek like.
Yeah, yeah. Was he really bad last night? No, but he was bad enough that if the Avalanche aren't really rolling at 100%, he's not going to steal you a game too often. And it it's brutal. They were up 2-0 to start this game too, and
Yep.
he just defensively they played not great either, but you can't constantly be blaming all the players on the ice all the time when a goaltender just won't can't stop the puck in the NHL at the level that you need to win. And I know it's not fair to put it all on the goaltender, as they say, but the fact of the matter is it's the most important position. And if you're a team that's set up like the Colorado Avalanche, why would you want to put yourself in a position to not have the best goaltender you can have, or at least an above average goaltender for that team? Right? It just
Yeah,
doesn't make sense to me.
that's the one piece missing in Colorado is the netminder. They don't have that elite franchise goaltender that you need to really make a run legitimately at a Stanley Cup. And the more I think about it, the more Grubauer reminds me of Peter Mrazek. They're almost like the same player, where like when they get hot, they can be really, really good. But they're extremely streaky, and when things go bad, they go really, really bad. And
Yeah.
um, if you're trying to be the best team in the NHL, which I think Colorado was, that was kind of their goal heading into this season, was to be one of those elite top tier teams, you can't have a goaltender that goes through bad streaks. Like, you have to have great goaltending all the time. Obviously, every goalie's going to have a bad night here or there, but you can't let that be a prolonged thing where they're bad for a week or bad for 2 weeks. And I mean, this team, they just haven't been as good as I thought they were going to be this year. And I think goaltending is one of the reasons why. And I think they're still a true cup level goalie away from being a team that can win a Stanley Cup. They don't have that Andrei Vasilevsky type guy. They don't have that in goal. And it's going to be hard to win a cup without a top end goalie like that.
Yeah, and Jackie makes a good point. They also are still not hitting enough. Last game they played, they got back to it against San Jose. I mean, you can hit them all. They don't have anybody there. Hit them for the love of God. Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially on their defense, you should be smoking those guys because they got really nothing to come back at you with. So he makes a very good point, but they definitely have to be hitting. But I still say ultimately they are going to need to get themselves a better goaltender than this.
Yeah.
Just sharing this.
They're
Okay,
not winning a cup with Grubauer as their goalie. Just not going to happen.
no, I agree. I don't think they win a cup with them, with that at all. Sharing a group. I'm trying to share this as I'm talking to you here. I'll go back to it in a second because we got to start doing our picks now.
Yep.
Okay. Tomorrow's games. Okay, get out your pens and everybody there. I want y'all. Got to make sure you got all your duotangs and stuff. We're gonna do picks for tomorrow for today. Gotta get my pen out. Okay. Tuesday the 2nd. Islanders versus Devils.
Yep.
And we'll look at Islanders versus Devils, everybody. Put your picks in there while I'm looking up all of our stuff here. Dell is in net for New
Yes.
Jersey.
Yes.
And they're going with Varlamov for the Island. Nico Hischier is injured, and
Mm-hmm.
there was one other significant injury. But really, the Islanders got to be able to put this one away, right?
Yeah, I would think that the Islanders should win this game. Like, there's no excuse for them not to win it. They've got their number one goalie in net. You've got the backup in net for New Jersey. Um, New Jersey's missing one of their top offensive players in Nico Hischier. The Islanders have got to put this one away. So, neither of these teams usually score a ton of goals, so I think it's going to be probably 3-1 Islanders.
Okay, you're going to say 3-1 Island. I got to go to the first one. Yes, NHNR. Who was the first one? It looks like Implicit was the first one. And by the way, Implicit's an Islanders fan. And
Oh,
he's not.
I'm
What's that?
yes. He's
You're
he's definitely an Islanders fan.
Implicit is yeah, that's right. He's the one that's saying that Wallstrom's going to win the 4-3 Islanders. So he's an Islanders fan, but he's not doing being overly too confident with that pick. I don't. Yeah, okay. Jacket 3-1 Islanders. Hockey News Reports has 4-1 Islanders. Look, all the other non-Islanders fans are more confident in your team than you are, Implicit. What the heck's going on there? What did you say? 3-1 Islanders, right, John?
Yeah, I said 3-1 Isles.
3-1 Islanders. I have also 3-1 Islanders. Is that everybody? Looks like it. If you,
Yep.
Sasha, you haven't put your pick in. What's your pick, Sasha? Or did you and I missed it? Oh, CL 2-0 Islanders. And I'll wait for Sasha if he puts it up there. 2-0 Islanders. That's a good one, actually. I could see that. Varlamov. Varlamov has been a little bit shaky as of late, though. So,
Yeah. New Jersey doesn't score much though, so I think this could be a good opportunity for Varlamov to kind of get his game back.
can you change your pick? I suppose. Okay, while you're changing your pick, I'm going to the Sabres
Yep.
versus Rangers. And as far as I know, Carter Hutton is in net for the Sabres. Shesterkin is
Yes.
in for the Rangers.
That's what I've heard as
They
well.
both are fairly well arrested.
Mhm.
Panarin is still out, or is yeah, Panarin's still out.
Yep.
Eichel's back for the Sabres though,
Yes.
so that makes it a little more interesting. What do you think about this game as in general, John?
I mean, I think with Hutton in goal, I think that's good for the Rangers. Hutton's given up over 3 goals a game this year, and the Rangers have been scoring a little bit better here recently. Obviously, not on Sunday against Boston, but before that, the Rangers were scoring some goals. And Buffalo is not a great defensive team, so um, I think the Rangers offense is going to be able to take advantage of that. Buffalo doesn't score a whole lot themselves. Getting Eichel back will certainly help, but even when Eichel's been in the lineup, Buffalo's still not good offensively. They're 29th in the league in goals for per game. So um, this game, I believe, is in New York. Right? Yeah, Rangers are home for this one. So uh, I'm gonna say Rangers take this one 4-2.
Okay, implicit says 5-1 Sabres. Wow, that's interesting. I don't know if Hutton has. When's the last time Hutton only allowed one goal in a game? I think he would have been back in. Was he in Nashville? Wasn't he before this?
Uh, he went from I think Nashville to St. Louis and then to Buffalo.
That's what it was. Yeah, St. Louis. Maybe back in those days, he might have let one goal in a game. That should be interesting. Okay, I got it implicit 3-0. Hockey News reports a 6-4 Sabres. People are all over the Sabres here.
I
Um,
I will almost never pick the Sabres to win a game.
yeah. 6-4 Sabres. Okay. I'm a little dicey on this game myself. Jacket has 4-1 Rangers. And Sasha has 3-2 Sabres and 2-1. Oh, I already got your Islanders. Okay. I already got your Islanders. I saw that, Sasha. What do you have, John? 4-2?
Yeah, 4-2 Rangers.
4-2 Rangers. And I do not like this game. I have a. What that usually tells me the Sabres are going to win when I do this.
Yeah.
But I just can't with Hutton in net. I can't. I can't do it. I can't pull the trigger on it. I got 3-2 Rangers.
Neither of these teams are very good. I mean, Buffalo
No.
only has 6 wins and the Rangers only have 7. So neither of these teams are very good, but somebody's got to win the game.
CL's 5-2. CL's going for the over. 5-2 Rangers. I hope you guys are wrong because I'm pretty sure I put an under in on this one. Uh, I can't remember why. Maybe not. I'd have to look it up. But anyways, doesn't matter. What did I say? I better have been because I predicted an under. I think Shesterkin will hold the fort well enough. That's pretty much why I did here. And I think there was some how much time they've been playing issues too. Some tired team issues. But I won't get into that now. We'll keep on going with the picks because I don't want to go over our time. So the next one then, where are we
Yep.
here? Is Flyers versus Penguins, which with Crosby out should be pretty interesting. From what I understand, these guys they both have played pretty much the same amount of games. They should both be equally fairly well rested, I believe. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Flyers are going with Carter Hart on the road, which is always a little bit but the Penguins have Jari and a weak defense, of course, as we know. Flyers have been playing a little better lately. Now that they and got like guys like Gostisbehere are playing better. But
Yep.
what do you think of this game, sir?
I think this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be an exciting one to watch. Obviously, kind of stinks that Crosby's not going to be in for the Penguins because that's a huge loss for Pittsburgh. The Flyers on the road here, this would be a big road win for Philadelphia. They're playing a team that is just below them in the standings, who is trying to come in and take that playoff spot from the Flyers. So, with your number one guy in net for each team, with Jarry and Hart both playing, I'm gonna lean Philadelphia because Crosby's not in. These teams have played, I believe, 3 times or twice so far this season. Yeah,
Yes.
looks like twice so far this season, and the Flyers won both games. But it was way back at the beginning of the year. This is how these two teams opened their season, was against each other. So they
Yep.
haven't played in a while. Pittsburgh's playing better now than they did right at the beginning of the season. But I think losing Crosby for tonight's game is going to be too big of a hit, and I think it should be a fairly high scoring game. Um, I don't really trust the goaltending for either of these teams. So I'm gonna say Philadelphia 5-3 over the Penguins tonight.
Okay, John's Philadelphia 5-3. Am I missing? I got Sasha Jacket implicit. I don't have NHNR or NHL. Kevin, you can put your Islanders pick in quick, probably. John 5-3 Flyers.
Yep.
And I'm going to say I'm going to go with Sasha on this one and go 5-2 Flyers. I just banking that Carter Hart's going to play a good road game. That's going to start getting that monkey off his back. Not being
Mm-hmm.
a road team, uh, not being a road team goalie. I'm actually a little surprised they haven't kind of gone back and forth with Carter Hart and Elliott right now with the way Elliott is playing. Elliott has been playing excellent.
Yeah,
C-
Brian
C-
Elliott's been phenomenal.
CL is never not going to take the Flyers. 4-2 Flyers. And is that everybody? Hockey News Reports. Are you still out there, my friend? I think he kind of takes off sometimes at this time, so he might
Yeah.
be. gone. Okay, we'll continue rolling here then. The next game is Red Wings versus Blue Jackets.
Yep.
I'm not lining up to watch this one.
No, no. Not at all. This is an interesting one. Red Wings and Blue Jackets. Detroit's one of those teams that can be really competitive some nights, and then other nights just completely get blown out of the building, and you really don't know which Red Wings team is going to show up. And Columbus has been really bad recently.
Mm-hmm.
This is an important game for Columbus. They cannot afford to
This,
lose to the Red Wings in a game
yeah,
like this. Like this has got to be. I mean, it's a little early in the season to say must win, but this is going to have a must win feel to it for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
for sure.
They cannot drop this game. These teams have played twice already this season. Both of them were 3-2 games with each team winning one. So I feel like it's probably going to be another close game like that, but the Columbus Blue Jackets just cannot afford to lose this game. So with that being said, I'm going to take Columbus 3-2 in this one.
Okay, I just got to put HNR has 3-2. What did he say? 2-1 Flyers. 2-1 Flyers. Yeah. It. I would even say go as far as to say the Blue Jackets cannot just win this game. They got to really win this game. This has
Hmm.
got to be a. This is a. You got to smell blood. They got to smell blood here. They need a sense of urgency in this lineup, and so far there really hasn't been any urgency in Columbus Blue Jackets lineup. Ever since the whole Line A thing happened, it has swung in the wrong direction in a big way. And
Yep.
let's also remember that Dylan Larkin's not going to be playing in this game. Also,
Yep.
Nemeth is injured, which shouldn't be a big deal. But
Yeah.
for the
But
Red Wings, it is a big deal. They don't have much for defense there, and he plays a lot of minutes for them. So, Sasha has Wings 3-2. Wings 3-2. Okay, I get that. Uh, I like that one by implicit. The Wings 1-0. That sounds could very well be the score of this game for sure. Except that Corpusalo has been so poopty up until
yeah.
now that I doubt very much even the Wings might be able to pop more than one against him. Uh, Sasha implicit jacket. Uh, Jacket picks the Jackets. 3-2. CL has the Wings 3-2. No Fabry. Yeah, Fabry's out as well. Yeah, on
uh,
paper, Columbus should be destroying this game. Like destroying this game. The problem is the energy of that team on Columbus's team right now is just
Not good.
absolutely terrible. So it's really
Yeah.
tough.
The Red Wings could very well steal this win, but I think Columbus just has to get it done. But it should be a close game.
Go. You had 3-2, right?
Yeah, 3-2 Jackets.
3-2. And I have Jackets 4-1. I think they're going to come around in this one. I just think you give Lion an opportunity to play against a defense like this, he can score a couple all by himself. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Jackets do suck. I agree. I just think on paper they're going to win this
Yeah.
game, and I can't believe I'm saying that. But let's put it this way: if the Blue Jackets lose this game, this is a game where a general manager is looking at it, going, "This could be Tortorella gone or not."
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
If you were thinking about firing your coach, or this could be a game that kind of sets it right off right there.
Yeah, this could
They,
be the death sentence game that if they lose this one, then heads start to roll.
mm-hmm. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, yeah. Whoa is right. Yeah. Um, I don't know about that because I know I've heard so many great things said about Kekalainen about uh, Tortorella, and he's supported him a lot for quite a while now. But every general manager has to have their limit, and
Yeah,
I don't know if it's even necessarily Tortorella's fault here. If any coach could really do something with the whole shenanigans that happened there in Columbus, but they may need a reset completely. It's possible. I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't
It
matter how great of a coach you are. Barry Trotz is probably the best coach, if not Tortorella, that we've seen, and they've both been fired twice. No, well, he left in Washington pretty much too.
Yeah, Trotz left Washington, but it could be the dreaded vote of confidence when the general manager has to come out and give a vote of confidence to the coach. A lot of times it's not long after that a change is being made with the coach, and we see that in the NFL a lot too, where like it'll be one week there'll be all this discussion about changing coaches. The general manager will come out and say he has our full support. We're 100% behind him, and then the next week the coach is gone. And I think, we've seen that in hockey too, where you get that vote of confidence and then another game or two later, and all of a sudden, out. See you later. And I think there could be some big changes if Columbus blows this game and doesn't beat the Red Wings.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Okay, we'll go to our next game. That's the Senators versus the Canadians, which is a very interesting game. By the
Yeah,
way, the last game, there's still, as far as on my app that I use, anyways, Detroit has no confirmation on their goaltending. Um,
I would think it's got to be Bernier. Grice
yeah,
got lit up on Sunday night.
yeah, you would think so. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why they haven't confirmed it. A lot of sometimes they
Well,
take way too long
some of
to
the
do that. But
coaches don't like saying it until the game starts,
yeah, it's
but
weird.
I
It's
would,
weird.
I'd hope that it was Bernier tonight.
It drives me crazy when they do that. I'm going to do a refresh here because this game also had that issue. Yes, Murray is still not. Murray is projected, but he played last night. He has not done well on where you tried to play him back to back. But the
Mm-hmm.
only one they have left is Decord, and he played in the ECHL last year. So
Yep.
take that into consideration when you're doing your picks here. Much like the same as we were doing this with the last game we were talking about here. This is Montreal's got to win this freaking game. Simple as that. The
Yeah.
Senators are on a back to back against they just beat Calgary, but they traveled here to
Yeah.
Montreal, and they're good. They might have their third string goaltender in. Montreal's got to win
Th-
this game.
This is a must-win game for the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, Ottawa just whooped Calgary last night, but then they have to travel to Montreal, and they're on the second half of a back-to-back where the Canadians have been sitting at home waiting for them. If Montreal is going to salvage this season, this is a must-win game for the Montreal Canadiens. They cannot lose this one, and they've had problems with the Senators all year long. They cannot afford to have problems with the Senators in this game. This is a massive game, and I'm almost tempted to take Ottawa because I feel like Ottawa has a really good shot at somehow winning this game just because of how bad the Canadians have been recently. But at the end of the day, Montreal cannot afford to drop this game. This is a must win for the Canadians.
Yeah, I think in the room for the Habs here, no matter what's going on, and we've had there's been talk about Weber saying that there was problems in the Montreal room and all of those things like that
Yep.
in whatever's going on in the room there. To me, this has got to be a wake up game in the sense that if you lose this one, where are we going?
Yeah.
Like this could be we just hit the bottom game. So it's either we're gonna hit a bottom or we're gonna stop hitting a bottom right here. Uh, CL's taking the Habs 3-0. Um, I'm going to say the Habs come out flying and get a couple early. I like the Habs here. I'm going to take the Habs 4-1. Price is in net.
Yeah,
No, I
Price
think
is
I
in
had
net.
an over. I'm going to take the Habs 4-2. No,
Yeah,
5-2. 5-2.
Price is in net for the Canadians. We don't know who's in net for the Sens, but man, I'm tempted to take Ottawa here because I feel like Ottawa could like end the Canadian season right now tonight. Um, but I just feel like Montreal in that locker room knows that they cannot afford to lose this game, and I think the Canadians are going to come out and find a way to win this one. I'm gonna say 4-2 Montreal.
4-2. Implicit, did I get your pick? Yes, you had 5-0 Sens. The Habs suck, he said. Yeah. Jacket took the Habs 6-5 in OT. Sasha's got the Habs 4-2. CL has the Habs 3-0. And then you and I and our picks, and I guess NHNR has taken off on us. So that's everybody, I believe. We're on to the next game. I think you're right. There's something in me that thinks Ottawa can fight through this game or something and do
Yep.
something. I think that's pretty much the way it's going to be every time Ottawa plays right now. They have built a reputation for themselves, which is great. Which is like that's what you need to do when you're a young team. You got to have it, like they say over and over again. The old adage, you have to have you need to get an identity. It's
Yep.
very true. If you don't have an identity, if you can't say what you are as a team, how do you beat anything, right? So,
Yeah.
okay, so we got another very interesting game here. We just Hurricanes versus the Predators, and we just talked about the Hurricanes playing an ungodly amount of hockey against with Florida, and now they go up
Hmm.
against a struggling, maybe starting to bail themselves out of it a little bit, Predators team. But they are playing. Are they on a back-to-back too here?
Carolina played last night against Florida, and now
Mm.
they had to travel and play Nashville tonight.
Yeah, on 7 games, 5 games in 8 or something
Yep.
ridiculous like that. On a back-to-back against Nashville, and you still think they might be able to pull it out, right?
I think Carolina's going to pull this game out. Like, there's just something about this Canes team where they just find ways to win, and they have so much heart and so much just determination in with that group where I think it's going to be low scoring as most Preds games are, and I don't think that Hurricanes are going to have a lot in the tank, but I think they're going to find a way to win this game 3-2 and just somehow pull this out despite it being a great opportunity for the Predators to take a win because, Carolina has all the circumstances going against them here. I just am really high on this Hurricanes team, and I think they squeak this one out 3-2.
Yeah, I'm very high on them too, but well, I'll get to it when but I'm actually gonna go with the Predators here. I got to go with logic. Team has got to get tired somewhere along the line, and I do like the way the Predators have been playing as of late. What do you got? Canes 3-1. 3-1. It's a very I wouldn't be putting much on it though, for sure. I would not be surprised if Carolina, like you said, just plain finds a way to win this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a heck of a lot of hockey to be playing with travel and everything on the road. It's a lot. It's a lot to ask for any team, no matter what. Yeah, under I would agree, Jacket. So I got Preds uh, 3-2. Plus, uh, I think Carolina is definitely going to play a very. Actually, I'm going to say 2-1. Very defensive game
Yep.
with Reinhardt and not Reinhardt. What's his name in net?
Reimer.
Reimer and net.
Yep.
With Reimer and net, they're they let's face it, they know Reimer's not real true number one. But that's the thing. The Canes can beat you anyway. That's the
And
thing. They can play that shutdown game, especially against a team like Nashville,
yep.
and pull it through.
And
Seattle has a
Reimer's 9-3 on the season.
yeah. Oh yeah. He's still winning. I don't think his numbers looked all that pretty
No,
for.
they're not great, but he's finding ways to win, just like this Carolina team.
I think the Carolina team just finds ways to win
Yep.
with
It's
him around them like that.
it's a big trait of theirs.
Yeah. It's just so much to ask. I'll be very impressed if they
Oh,
win
for
this game.
sure.
Like, there's really, it's a team playing that much hockey. I don't care who they are. With the parity in this league, that is a lot to ask for any team to be able to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Changing my picks for Preds 4-2. Okay, Implicit's changing his pick again. Okay, I'll let you do that. All right, next game. What do we got? Oh, we still got a half an hour left. Geez, I'm all in a hurry and we don't even need to be now. That's all
No.
right. We can talk about some stuff after all of this is done too. So, we still got a few games though. Canucks versus Jets, and
Yep.
we talked about this game last night. Holtby in for the Canucks.
Yep. Brassois for the Jets.
Brassois for the Jets. Again, Hamanek's back in for the Canucks. The Jets are not very beat up at all. Um, so you got to figure the Jets are going to be pissed about last night.
Yeah, I mean, I would think Vancouver um, is going to be have some confidence now, knowing that they can beat this Winnipeg team. But if you're the Winnipeg Jets, you have to know that you need a bounce back performance after getting blown out on home ice and shut out on home ice last night. So I would definitely expect a pushback game from the Winnipeg Jets. Um, Vancouver, they always get these random wins, it seems, but they haven't been able to put any sort of streak together where they win a significant number of games in a row, or 4 out of 5 or something like that. Vancouver hasn't been able to do that at any point this season.
Yeah.
They get random one-off wins and then they can't follow it up with another good performance. So I would think that this will be a bounce back game for the Jets. I think they're going to be playing angry. I think they're going to try and come out and make sure that that doesn't happen again. What happened last night. So I'm going to say Winnipeg is able to take this one 4-2.
4-2, and how do you say his name? McKeel?
McHale, yeah.
McHale. Welcome. How you doing, my friend? Put your pick in. You can still put your picks in for the games. Sasha has the Jets 3-2. Jets 3-2. Um, I just can't. Jets are just have too much pushback this year.
Mm-hmm.
They had a couple unlucky bounces there. I think Brassois is really. In fact, I would roll with Brassois for a while. If I were Paul Maurice, of course, if I were Paul Maurice, we wouldn't be doing picks doing this right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. Can I be on your assistant? Can I be one of your assistant coaches?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Done. Although I know you're watching, Paul, so you don't steal my idea now. Go start throwing Brassois out there. CL takes the Jets 5-1. I feel like that. I feel, and by the way, Professor MJ, he's got Vancouver again tonight, and he had Vancouver right last night.
Has Vancouver won back-to-back games yet this season?
I don't think so. I don't know, but I mean, I really don't think so.
I'm gonna take a little detour here quick and look at that because I know they haven't put any sort of like win streak together. Let's see if they've even won a back-to-back yet.
I mean, Holtby in net for the Jets here, or for Vancouver. Holtby has been so incredibly inconsistent. I just can't see. I'm going to say the Jets win 5-2. I got the Jets 5-2.
Vancouver had a 4-game win streak at the end of January.
Oh, they
That
did.
was the only multiple wins in a row that Vancouver's had all season. Was at the end
Paul,
of January.
Paul's right here. Paul Maurice. Look at that.
Hey, Paul Maurice is in the chat.
Yeah.
Let's
Uh,
go.
so, yeah, the Canucks are bad, Paul Maurice is saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to play for SWAT for a while now, right, Paul? Good. That's good. I'm glad you came in. Welcome. Canucks are bad. That's that's gonna be your pregame talk
Yeah.
tonight. Just
Yeah.
get up and say Canucks are
Canucks are
bad.
bad. Win the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's my X's and O's for you today. Canucks are bad. All right. Well, I guess we'll go to one more game and then we'll just chat about everything that's going on. Lightning versus Stars, and
Yep.
this Stars team, I don't know what to do with this team. I mean,
I agree.
it's is there any more inconsistent team? I mean, at least you got some teams that are bad, but then you have the Stars that are like they sometimes they win 2-1, sometimes Hudobin stops every puck in the land. The next
Yep.
time he doesn't stop nothing. Sometimes their defense is up and they're scoring. Sometimes they can't score. Like this, it's all over the map with this team, right?
Yeah, this is one of those games I have no idea what to expect. This game could be 2-1. This game could be 6-4. Um, I do think Tampa Bay is going to win. Tampa's been playing really well here recently. They just shut the Stars out 5-0 back on at the end of February. So I do think that the Lightning are going to win this game. But I have no idea what kind of game it's going to be. Like Dallas has just been all over the place this season. They've gone through stretches where they've looked really good. They've gone through stretches where they've looked really bad. They've played low scoring games. They've played high scoring games. They have been completely inconsistent in every sense of the word this year. And I don't know. They haven't been impressive to me. They're only 6-6-4. They haven't been overly impressive. They're not in a playoff spot right now. Actually, they're in last place in the division right now. They have played significantly less games than Detroit, Nashville, Columbus, teams like that. But it's not been a great start to the year for the Stars. It's been a very inconsistent start, and Tampa Bay looks like an absolute juggernaut again. So, Hudobin's in net for Dallas. I think he is going to be able to keep the score somewhat down tonight. So I'm gonna say 3-1 Lightning in this one.
Okay, Maurice, Paul. Oh, Maurice is even predicting other games now. Wow. Paul Maurice is predicting other. I don't even know if that's legal, Paul.
Yeah, is that legal? I don't think he's allowed to do that.
He's taking the Stars 5-3. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that he's got more inside information than we would about this. So that gets me wondering. Sasha's got Tampa 3-1. 3-1. CL has the Bolts also 3-1. Oh, 4-1. 4-1 for the Bolts. And see if anybody else comes in here, and I'll put my pick in here. But really, since we got some time here, we're about what quarter? We're over quarter way through the season now, right?
Yeah, yeah. We're closing in on
Almost
I think
halfway.
yeah, almost halfway coming up.
Point's left leg is shaken up. Really? Okay, good. I don't even know what that means. He's doing an Elvis dance. His left leg is shaken up. He's doing a little Elvis dance. Oh, I'm Mr. Point. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. He's got inside information. I think that's what he's trying to say. That's his inside information.
Yes.
Uh, okay, Perlo, I'm going to say, oh, because we just said that it's been all over the map, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say Dallas can't score with the darn against Vasilevsky, and the Bolts win 4-0.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a shootout or shutout for Vasilevsky against the Bolts. I'm all shook up. Yeah. So that being said, you just talked about it. And it almost feels like it's a little too early to talk about, but it's actually not too early to talk about. We're
Yeah, this
almost
season's
halfway through the
flying
season.
by.
Yeah, it is flying by because, of course, the season is such
Short.
a
Yeah.
short season. Uh, who do we like this year? Uh, well, should we talk about to win it all or just win each? Not win the division, but playoff wise. In the
Okay.
playoffs, to win each division this year, from what you've seen from each team so far this year, and you guys can put your prediction. I'll write everybody's predictions. Let's start. We got 20 minutes.
Yep.
We'll start with the East. Who
Okay.
do you like to win in the playoffs in the East this year? And everybody can put their thing down. I'll probably completely forget to, but we'll try to remember.
I have no idea about this division. I think there are 4 teams that could legitimately come out of the East.
Yeah, okay.
I mean Washington, Boston, Philly, the Islanders. You could maybe throw I don't like Pittsburgh in the playoffs, like going deep into the playoffs, but you could maybe even throw them into the conversation. Like that would be 5 teams that could potentially come out of this division. Um, this division is going to be predicated on matchups so much when it comes to the playoffs. Like if Boston has to play the Islanders, I think the Islanders win that series. But if Boston plays Philadelphia, I think Boston wins that series. So it's going to really depend on matchups how the East goes. Um, I really getting to the final 4 out of this division is really a crapshoot between 4 or 5 different teams. Based on what I've seen, Boston is so young. I think Washington could be the team that does it, but they've kind of stunk in the playoffs the past couple of years. Um, are the Islanders consistent enough to make it to the Final Four again? There's so many questions with this East. I'm gonna say Washington right now, but this division is an absolute crapshoot, and I think there are 4 or 5 different teams who could potentially come out of it.
Okay, you're saying the Capitals. Jacket says the Capitals. Yeah, it is a very difficult division to pick. I should have brought up the divisions up here as well. I think I had the Capitals from the get go. I'm just
Mhm.
still kind of concerned about their goaltending.
I am too.
That's really the big thing with that. Philadelphia, I need to see more consistency from Philadelphia up until now. Pittsburgh might not even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Islanders have not looked like the Islanders of last year so far. The Capitals really have a team that could do it as long as but their goaltending again. So yeah, I got the Capitals too. Anybody else? Toronto. Oh, he's taking Toronto and Tampa Bay overall in the finals altogether. Right there. We haven't even got to that yet. We're just talking about the East. CL's taking Philly, of course. I should say that because I am a Flyers fan, but I'm trying not to be a Flyers fan while I do this. Uh, just let me look up.
I just don't trust Philadelphia's defense at all. Every single one of these contending teams in the East has a major concern that like makes me that I worry about with them. Washington's goaltending, Boston's depth and how young they are on the back end, Islanders' inconsistency, Philadelphia's defense, and Pittsburgh's defense and goaltending, I don't think are good. Um, so all five of those contending teams all have major issues that I am legitimately concerned about. So I really have no idea who's going to come out of this division.
Yeah. I almost want, and I didn't. Yeah, yeah. And nobody has like a dominant
No.
part of their game that Washington just has that forward depth that is sick. And
Yep.
if there's anything that's dominant over the other teams, is probably that when they're all healthy.
Yeah.
Uh, that was what I would say. But I mean, you got to hope that Samsonov holds out, and the young goaltending. But Rask can go off on a tangent and beat everybody. Yeah, what a and the Islanders in the playoffs play a system that can beat anybody. Very
Yep.
difficult. Okay, do we have anybody else putting their picks down there? What do we got? No, that was it. So, okay, we're on to another one because we got 15 minutes. So we'll try to solve all the NHL. We'll have all the NHL figured out in 15 minutes. um,
Yeah.
where was I here?
Everyone can make fun of us when we're completely wrong at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. It'll change before the end of the year because there's going to be things that happen,
Oh,
injuries
it'll
that
change
happen.
10 times over.
For sure. We're just doing it for fun. So, the West. That's that even becomes interesting with the West
Yeah.
because you would have thought it would have been Colorado all day long, but I mean,
N-
they're just floundering around like crazy right now.
Yeah, they've been disappointing. I think it's going to be Vegas out of the West, honestly. They've got the goaltending. They're good defensively. They've got a lot of veterans in their lineup, which I think helps in the playoffs. They got a lot of leadership and experience. Um, I think Vegas goes to the Final Four. Colorado, unless they improve their goaltending, I think is going to come up just a little bit short. St. Louis, I don't trust at all this year. This has been a very weird year for them. And Minnesota and LA both have had solid seasons so far, but I don't trust them to make deep runs in the playoffs because they're already kind of overachieving from where I thought they would be. So for me, the West, I'm heavy on Vegas at this point so far.
You're heavy on Vegas. Maurice says that the Kings, and you know what? That wouldn't surprise me at all the way they're playing.
No,
I would not be surprised at all that Los Angeles wins comes out of the West. I just think it almost always looks like some young team that is playing crazy. Uh, it's always that temptation to take them. But when it comes playoff time, I agree with you. It's
they always,
almost always the veteran
yeah.
teams that win.
The young teams can make the playoffs, but they almost always lose in the first two rounds. They always lose first or second round. They very rarely go deep. So I think LA certainly could make the playoffs, yes, but I don't have them going super deep if they do make it. I think Vegas has a veteran team that would probably have a better shot of making it to the Final Four.
Sasha Hoffman says Sharks are his sleeper. Wow, that's going to take a lot.
Yeah, I don't think they have a minus 14 goal differential right now. I don't think the Sharks are even sniffing the playoffs, never mind winning in the playoffs.
Jacket says the Avs are going to come up way short. And I would agree if they keep on playing the way they are now. I
Yeah,
don't know what happened to their hitting game. Yes, the goaltending is one thing, but we talked, and they're not consistently hitting this year for some reason. Did they just start buying the hype? I guess.
the talent, yeah, they're bought the talent, but not the grit needed to win, and they're not going to win anything in the playoffs if they don't play a gritty game. They need to add some grit to that lineup desperately.
Yeah, adding grit is great. Maybe adding some pieces to get these guys to play with grit, because there's no reason why the guys there can't play with some in tenacity, because they've done it before. All they got to do is go
Yeah.
back to doing it again. So maybe bringing in somebody that is going to, like, the guy that I really like there in Nashville, Grimaldi, or somebody like that. That's gonna, he's a smaller guy, but he goes in there and is brave. That's the word I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado's not playing brave right now. They're
Yep.
playing a very perimeter type game, and McKinnon too, by the way, also not, and that is not
Yeah,
what
no,
we
it's
normally see
everybody.
from McKinnon. It's like everybody.
Yep.
You go Blues out of the West, really? You think the Blues are going to turn it around from what we've seen so far?
Ugh. No, they might miss the playoffs. Ugh.
And
That
yeah,
team
yeah,
that team's got major issues.
yeah. When Parayko's in the lineup, possibly a little more, but yeah,
He hasn't even been that good this year.
they did it before. They looked terrible. Remember, what was that? What year was that? Well, they
Oh, that
won the
was
cup.
2018-19 when they won the cup. That was just nuts. So they were dead last in the league at the halfway point. And then Bennington got called up and everything changed. But Bennington now is nothing like Bennington in 2019. He's been
Yeah,
bad this year.
that was really it, right? Bennington got called up, and then
That was it. Yeah.
yeah.
Everything changed and he went on one of the hottest streaks we've ever seen from a goaltender. I
Hmm.
don't trust him to do that again. He's been bad this year.
Yeah, and then the game against San Jose, he just did some immature crap.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like,
he some crybaby stuff.
oh yeah, just terrible. His head's got to come down a notch, and we've been talking about that before. It's the reason why it took him so long to get in the league. They wanted him to mature, and he just hasn't matured yet. And
No.
then they didn't play him the next game,
Yeah, they
so
went with Huso.
they weren't happy with him either.
And
So
Huso's not good. I mean, they were able to win last night, but he gave up 4 goals. And his numbers aren't good this year.
Jackets got a good one there. The Wild, yeah, the Wild in the West there. I could see it.
Yeah, if they go on a run, they could do it. I don't know if they're going to win in the playoffs. Minnesota's playoff history is real bad.
Yeah, it could change though, because I mean we haven't seen a Minnesota team that's has a work ethic like this in Minnesota for a very long time either. And all of these teams can add, right?
Yeah, we
I
still have a
mean,
whole trade deadline to go where things are going to change.
yeah, like Colorado can get a goaltender or whatever, and Minnesota can. I don't know, what would Minnesota need? A little more size up front. They're still pretty small up front.
Yeah.
Greenway and Foligno are doing the bulk of the heavy lifting there. And how long are they going to be able to do that over the course of the whole season? But their defense looks really good,
Yeah.
and Talbot looks really good when he's been in. Also Kakinen as well. So
Kakinen's been solid too.
yeah. Okay, let's go to another one then. The Central, I guess we'll go Central. Okay, we'll go Central. Uh, should be a three-team race here, I would think. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's a couple teams scaring you a little bit, like the Chicago Blackhawks. What do you like in this one, there, bud?
Tampa Bay. Over the course of the whole season, I don't see anybody being better than Tampa Bay. Um, Obviously, Florida and Carolina have both had phenomenal seasons, and I think that they certainly could give the Lightning a run for their money. But when it comes down to it, the best goaltending, Tampa Bay Lightning. The best defense, Tampa Bay Lightning. Best, most offensive firepower, Tampa Bay Lightning. I just think the Lightning get it done. And if you look at Tampa Bay's goal differential right now, they have the best goal differential in the entire NHL at plus 30, which is absolutely insane. Um, they've only given up 39 goals all season long. That's might be best in the league. I'm just checking here. It looks like that is best in the league. Um, I just think the Lightning get it done. They are just too good. They're too good.
And that's without Kucherov.
Yeah, and that's they're doing all of this without one of the top 10 players in the entire NHL.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
actually, even lately, it's been Chernak too. They've been. I put. I think Carolina can give him a go if they
They
get.
certainly could.
Yeah, I think Florida will pooch out over the year. A great team, fun to watch, great work ethic, and all of that stuff like that. But I just don't think over the long haul they're going to be able to hold up this year.
Yeah, I think Florida makes the playoffs, but probably loses in the first round.
Yeah, something like that, I would imagine. It's hard to go against Tampa Bay. I'm back. Okay, great. We're talking about the who do we think's going to win in the playoffs in all the divisions. Uh, so far we did. It's Hockey News Reports is back.
Yep.
So far we did Lightning versus or what am I talking about? Jackets or what the hell did I? Oh, East. We did the East, the West, and did we
In
just
the
do the
Central.
Central and the Central? So you can put
So we
your
have the
picks in
North
there.
to go.
And now we have the North. Uh, I'll just let you talk about it before I say whatever I'm going to say.
It's hard for me to take Toronto in the playoffs because they haven't won a playoff series since I was in elementary school. Um, but at the same time, with the playoffs set up the way that it is, where they're going to be playing other North Division teams for at least the first two rounds, I got to go Toronto. They're the best team in the North. They are the best team up in Canada right now. Um, I think the Leafs are gonna. This is gonna be the year where they finally make a run, and they're gonna get to that Final Four. Winnipeg could kind of be a sleeper team come postseason time. Maybe they steal a couple series. But other than that, I don't trust any of these other teams to even really give Toronto much of a fight. I mean, Montreal's been really bad lately. Calgary, I don't even think is making it. Vancouver and Ottawa probably aren't even going to make the playoffs. I mean, they would need miraculous comebacks too, so I don't see that happening. Edmonton has been absolutely owned by Toronto so far this season. Um, it's like Edmonton's good against everyone else, and then they play Toronto and are just terrible.
Right.
And I mean, I don't see them winning a playoff series against a team that has owned them all regular season. So I got to go Toronto in that one. I think they're the best team in the North.
Yeah, I mean, the only team I think that could really give Toronto a go as of right now, and we're basing this on what we've seen so far, is the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah,
They've got maybe more depth. They could do some damage to Toronto's third and fourth lines with
yeah,
the depth they have on there. As far as forward depth is concerned, they play maybe more of what would be considered a playoff style uh,
absolutely.
than Toronto. Uh, Shifley is going off so far this year. Wheeler's been playing really well, and of course, what's his name on the wing there? The the European. What's his name?
Ehlers,
Ehlers, yeah,
he's
Ehlers
been
is
phenomenal this
he's been
season.
phenomenal this year. Dubois seems to fit in there just like a glove. It's just Winnipeg's defense is over producing more than I even ever expected. But I
Hmm.
said the same thing last year. Um, Another guy that maybe finally, maybe he already get. Did Paul Maurice already get a Jack Adams? I think he might have. I think he might have in Carolina. Uh, but
Yeah,
he
maybe.
he could be looking at a Jack Adams as well because Hollowbook's not having the greatest year this year.
Yep,
So that could take the shine off of that because he wouldn't get it because Hollowbuck would stop everything, and that's the reason why you won. But that defense on paper just shouldn't be doing as well as it is. Simple as that.
yeah,
It's not good enough on paper to be playing as well as it does. But when I watch the Winnipeg
they're good.
Jets, I don't think this is a bad defense at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. They have been a lot better this season than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, but but I never should put it past Paul Maurice to put a good team on the ice. Do I think Eichel will go to? That's a rumor going around now. Eichel to the Bruins. I
No,
just
no,
cannot
just
see
stop.
that.
Just stop. Boston is not giving up Charlie McAvoy in a trade, and Buffalo is not trading Jack Eichel to Boston unless Charlie McAvoy is in the trade. So that deal is done there. It's just a ridiculous rumor that is never ever going to happen.
Yeah, I just can't see Buffalo
No.
trading Eichel in their division, develop future division, in their division, or even in the East at all. If it's gonna happen, New York Rangers could put a package together that could beat everybody pretty hard, and maybe trade within the East.
The Kings
But
could put a big package together too.
now the Kings would be the other team possible. I mean, they could they could throw their pick from last year in there.
Hmm.
That might do it. That is the only way. You might as well talk about this a little bit before we go out. The only way I think Eichel is going to get traded is if some young player like with the with the possibility of like Byfield or if Detroit gives their first next year or a lower team where you could win the lottery coming up or the year after that. That's the only way that Buffalo can ever come close to winning that trade because they could get a player almost Eichel-ish at
Yeah.
something like that. But besides that, they're losing that trade pretty much no matter what they do because nobody can give you enough really to make up for Eichel at this moment at a time. And I don't think Boston's going to.
No.
You, you said that you said it was the rumor is that Boston would give up what?
McAvoy, which they're not.
You don't think they would trade McAvoy straight across for Eichel?
Absolutely not. And I would not do that deal. I would be furious if I was the Boston if at the Boston Bruins if they did that.
And
Charlie McAvoy is going to be a Norris winning defenseman. You do
I
not
agree.
give that up.
I agree. And the other thing is they don't have anybody to take to make them. There's no McAvoy, like nobody close to McAvoy coming up in that lineup.
Oh
Uh,
God, no.
Basically, what you would do is you would become the Buffalo Sabers.
Yeah. No,
Sort of. I mean, you would have that
Boston is
top
not
line,
getting
and
Jack Eichel.
it
I don't
doesn't
know
make
who
sense. It
writes
doesn't make
this
sense.
stuff, but it's not happening.
It doesn't make sense. Buffalo's not going to trade him within their division like that. I don't even think they do it for McAvoy, anyways. To tell you the honest truth, because they have Darlene there, then they start becoming a little too back heavy, and they have no centers. So the whole thing just doesn't make sense. The whole thing
Yeah.
just doesn't make
No.
sense. Anyways, now you know. Now you know. Uh, you would like to have Lankinen as the Avs goalie. Grubauer to the Hawks. I don't think I want Lankinen for a win now scenario. Lankinen has really not been he's young. He's going to be a little inconsistent. You don't even know what Lankinen is yet. I'm looking for the Kempers or the Gibsons or something like that, or maybe a Stampat, right?
Yeah, I mean Lankinen's looked really good this season. I don't know if Chicago is interested in giving him up. If
Yeah,
you're the Blackhawks, why would you trade Lankinen? Like he's
certainly
25.
not for Grubauer.
No, certainly not for Grubauer. He's 25 years old and looks like he has a really high ceiling that could be a franchise goalie. So, um, I wouldn't do that if I'm the Blackhawks.
Yeah,
And the Hawks are in playoff position right now. Like they need Lankinen.
yeah. Look, I think he probably is going to be special, and that's the reason why probably they're not going to get him in that sense. I think they're more. I would be more looking to a guy that has shown he can win right now, and you don't need to commit to him long term as you try to find that long term goaltender there. I don't
If
think Grubauer is a short term or the long term. That's why
no,
I'm looking elsewhere. Somebody like Bernier in Detroit, who's stopping pucks like crazy in there, like give him a chance to actually have a defense in front of him.
if Arizona like falls down to the point where they know that they're not going to be making the playoffs around the trade deadline, if I'm the Colorado Avalanche, I am doing anything I can to get Darcy Kemper.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my target is Darcy Kemper.
yeah. If I'm anybody if I'm the rest of the league, I'm doing everything I can to make sure Colorado doesn't get Darcy Kemper.
Yeah,
Because if Colorado gets Darcy Kemper, I mean, that team is going to be just insane.
absolutely.
Oh, you were just hoping. Yeah, okay, Sasha. You just brought it up, so we just said that. Yeah, that's fine. We can hope for a lot, but I can't see. Yeah, I hope for Lankinen in Edmonton too. I would love to have Lankinen in Edmonton. I would like to. Koskinen is out of Edmonton now, pretty much. He's
Is his
not.
is his contract up at the end of this year?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be
That
gone.
that's the other thing. Edmonton needs goaltending. I think that's really the biggest problem that Edmonton has right now, is
Yep.
they're too indecisive because they know if they make a mistake, it's pretty much going in the net.
Yep.
Smith can only hold that fort at 39 years old. He'll play some good games,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's not going to last for long there with Smith. So number one order of business in Edmonton is to get goaltending. Anyways, boys and girls, this has been our full 42. It's all we have to give here today. What do you got going on for lives coming, John?
I'm live tonight in just a couple of hours for the Penguins and Flyers game. I think that's going to be a really fun one. And then I've got two games tomorrow night back to back. I'm doing the Capitals and the Bruins, and then we'll go right into the Blues and the Ducks after that one. So, one game tonight and two tomorrow. It's going to be a fun time as always.
That Capitals and Bruins game is going to be very interesting. You want to talk about a measuring stick game right now. Boston has had their inconsistencies, and so has Washington.
Yep.
Like this is that's a game where those guys they got to be getting up for that game. That is a really big game energetically for those teams going forward as far as their confidence is concerned. I would think.
Yeah. First
Uh,
place on the line too.
Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna like that. I'll be tuning into that one. You guys should be tuning into that one as well because freaking John is awesome. Just turn down the
Thank you.
TV, listen to John. That is excitement. He gets excited. It's I think it's better than any commentary you find on TV. It's fantastic. Okay, boys and girls, that's our full 42. We'll be talking about our picks tomorrow. We'll be talking about the games that happened tonight at 3 to 5 Eastern. Also, go over to Sports Fanatic News. Look at Joe, what he's doing. John's got a show on Friday night. Joe is doing an all sports show on Thursday night, I believe, now. Also, we have some people that have come on to the Steel Flyers All Sports Network, such as Slapshot Sweethearts that we just talked about today. You can go check out their channel. Hopefully, we can do some more work on that. And we're working on a mid-season live where we have the whole gang on all at one time. So be watching out for that. Have a great day, everybody. Lots of love to you. Okay, bye.